Top superstar reveals he was excited to take a German suplex from Brock Lesnar. Booker T on when The Undertaker will get inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, and new NXT Tag Team Champions to be crowned at TakeOver Stand and Deliver, plus updated match cards for both nights. Hello everyone, Jose G here bringing you today's top stories in today's Sportskeeda Wrestling News Roundup. Top superstar reveals he was excited to take a German suplex from Brock Lesnar. WWE superstar Daniel Bryan had a ton of praise for Brock Lesnar in his latest interview with Alex McCarthy of TalkSport. Daniel Bryan spoke in detail with Alex McCarthy about his Survivor Series 2018 battle with Brock Lesnar. The outing was an inter-brand match pitting the top champions of both Raw and SmackDown against each other. Bryan stated that he's extremely proud of his match against Brock Lesnar. Bryan also thinks that there's no one in the history of WWE who's been more excited to take a German suplex from the Beast than him, saying, quote, "That match is something that I'm really proud of, and it was a test for me. I don't think there's been anybody in the history of WWE who's been more excited to take a German suplex from Brock Lesnar than me. Just to be like, okay, let's see. We got to see what I got here. Am I good? German suplex? Yep, I'm good." End quote. Daniel Bryan had beaten AJ Styles for the WWE title mere days before the 2018 Survivor Series event. Bryan turned heel in the process, entering the Survivor Series bout as a different, more villainous character. The WWE Universe was pretty excited to see a battle between Brock Lesnar and this new persona of Bryan. Brock Lesnar dominated Bryan during the early moments of the match. It all changed when the official got in Lesnar's way. The ref was on the receiving end of an accidental hit by the Beast. Bryan seized the opportunity to hit Lesnar with a low blow. The match lasted almost 20 minutes. There were moments when it looked like Bryan would steal a victory over Brock Lesnar. The Universal Champion came out victorious in the end with a thunderous F5 on Bryan. The Rock and Steve Austin were uncomfortable with WWE's plan to involve a top female star in their feud. The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin main evented WrestleMania 17, which is still widely considered one of the greatest pay-per-view shows in wrestling history. The WWE legends faced each other for the second time in their careers at WrestleMania 17, and the build-up to the event had several twists and turns that raised the stakes for the headlining match. Vince McMahon had also ordered Deborah, Steve Austin's wife at the time, to be the Rock's on-screen manager. Deborah was also scheduled to be at ringside for the WrestleMania 17 main event. However, WWE quickly dropped its storyline plans to involve the former women's champion. On the latest edition of the Grilling JR podcast on adfreeshows.com, Jim Ross revealed the reason behind WWE nixing the idea. Jim Ross stated that both Rock and Austin were uncomfortable with WWE's plans to have Deborah as part of the WrestleMania angle. JR noted that Austin and Rock wanted their storyline to be serious. Despite being the main characters of the feud, they were pretty unsure about how the fans would react to Deborah's involvement. Jim Ross said that the timing was just not right to have Deborah in the storyline. He added that a bump-taking female wrestler or valet such as Trish Stratus or Lita would still have fit the role. The bottom line was that The Rock and Austin were just not in favor of the creative plan, and they had enough backstage pull to convince Vince McMahon to change his mind. Booker T on when The Undertaker will get inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. WWE Hall of Famer Booker T discussed The Undertaker's induction into the WWE Hall of Fame. He stated that there's a possibility that The Undertaker could be inducted into the Hall of Fame next year. The Undertaker retired from in-ring action last year at WrestleMania, with his final match in the business taking place against AJ Styles. Taker has stated in numerous interviews that he is done with wrestling and will not return to the ring. A fan asked Booker T on his Hall of Fame podcast if WWE could induct The Undertaker into the Hall of Fame next year, with WrestleMania set to take place in Dallas, Texas, the home state of the Phenom. Booker T said that it's time that The Undertaker got inducted into the Hall of Fame and that it could happen next year, saying, quote, "I think it's time. There's no reason to wait, and we know that's the way the ballot go. The Undertaker is retired. His name has come up. Is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? Of course. I think that would be the perfect place to actually do it. The crowd's going to be back in the arena. It's going to be sold out, and it would be a perfect time." End quote. Booker T's co-host Brad Gilmore said that The Undertaker should have had a separate wing in the Hall of Fame and that each one of his gimmicks should be in the Hall of Fame. Booker T stated that he's looking forward to The Undertaker being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Mick Foley congratulates new WWE Hall of Famer and takes a dig at Britt Baker. Yesterday, The Undertaker announced on WWE's The Bump that WWE would induct Kane into the 2021 Hall of Fame. Superstars, legends, and fellow Hall of Famers took to social media to congratulate the Big Red Machine for being the latest inductee in the prestigious club. Mick Foley, who was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2013, congratulated Kane for his well-deserved induction. He added that this made the future Hall of Famer the only dentist with a Hall of Fame-worthy career. For those unaware, before he became Kane, Glenn Jacobs debuted in WWE as Isaac Yankem DDS and portrayed a monstrous dentist. However, this does not seem to be the only case for Foley's comment. By making the statement, he also took a shot at professional wrestler Britt Baker, who is also a dentist in real life. Foley's dig at Baker stems from the fact that on AEW earlier in the week, the latter insulted Foley after he praised a brutal match between Baker and Thunder Rosa, where Baker got bloodied after her head was busted open. Even though Dr. Britt Baker DMD got praised by wrestlers including Foley, she said she should shut everyone up in true heel fashion, saying, quote, "I don't need praise and admiration from all of you legends and experts telling me that I'm worthy now, that I'm a star now. Mick Foley, thanks for the thumbs up, except it took you 20 years to become a hardcore legend, and I did it in one night," end quote. Now we know that in praising Kane, the former WWE champion also gave Baker her receipt. As of this report, Baker has not responded to Foley's jab, and it remains to be seen whether she will at all. New NXT Tag Team Champions to be crowned at TakeOver Stand and Deliver, plus updated match card for both nights. A week ago on NXT, former tag team champion Danny Burch suffered a legitimate shoulder injury when he and Oney Lorcan took on NXT champion Finn Balor and Karrion Kross in a tag team match. Burch and Lorcan were still NXT Tag Team Champions walking into that match, but the unfortunate injury forced NXT GM William Regal to vacate the titles on March 23rd. Well, the titles won't stay vacant much longer, as brand new NXT Tag Team Champions will be crowned on night one of TakeOver Stand and Deliver. MSK, Grizzled Young Veterans, and Legado del Fantasma will feature in a triple threat match for the newly vacated titles. None of the three teams have been NXT Tag Team Champions before, but GYV held the NXT UK Tag Team Championships on one occasion. This year's Men's Dusty Rhodes Classic Tag Team Classic winners, MSK, were set to face Lorcan and Burch for the titles. However, plans were nixed when MSK's Wes Lee suffered a legitimate injury. Now that the match has been announced, the future of the NXT Tag Team titles is clear. The first night of TakeOver Stand and Deliver already looks to be promising, and the NXT Tag Team Championship match could very well be the main event. The rest of NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver card has been announced for both nights. On night one, we will see the #1 contenders Battle Royal Gauntlet Eliminator for the NXT North American title, triple threat match for the vacant NXT Tag Team titles, Walter versus Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT UK title, and Io Shirai versus Raquel Gonzalez for the NXT Women's title. On night two, we will see Johnny Gargano versus the winner of the Gauntlet Eliminator for the NXT North American title, an NXT Cruiserweight title unification match featuring Jordan Devlin and Santos Escobar, and an unsanctioned match between Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, and Finn Balor and Karrion Kross do battle for the NXT title. WrestleMania week is looking completely stacked, with NXT TakeOver Standing and Deliver kicking things off into high gear for WWE's biggest week of the year. Thanks for watching today's Sportskeeda Wrestling News Roundup. For more news stories, be sure to follow us on all social media. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Download the Sportskeeda app for the most up-to-date stories in the world of wrestling.